Hey guys, Emily Muccianti here, and I'm back with a video about reading intervention. And today we're going to talk about something that is so important. We know how important it is in our classrooms, but it's also important in our reading interventions, and those are routines and expectations. We have to have routines and expectations for our intervention students so that they know what to expect. We're going to get right into it in just a second. Before we start, I would love it if you would please like this video, leave me a comment, tap that little bell so you get notifications, and share. Please share this video. I would love to get as many new intervention teachers as possible so that we can do the work that is going to improve outcomes for our students. Also, if you haven't already, visit readinglabsos.com. We are getting ready for our spring book club where we are going to read 10 Success Factors for Literacy Intervention by Dr. Susan L. Hall. It is not too late to join. readinglabsos.com. I'll put the link in the bottom. This is what we are going to focus on because, come on, if somebody can tell us the 10 success factors, wouldn't you want to know them? And trust me, they are what success is built on. And then I just got this book, just got it, barely cracked it open, haven't started it. But I thumbed through it. This is Structured Literacy Interventions, Teaching Students with Reading Difficulties in Grades K through 6, edited by Louisa Spear Swirling. And I'm going to kind of take a look at this and tell you what I think. On first glance, I wish it was more visual. That's it. I mean, I haven't even read anything, but I like things that show me. So that's just my pre-read opinion at this point. Okay, so let's get right back into it. So we're going to talk about routines and expectations for our students in reading intervention. And we need to talk about first why. We all know that when students know what to expect, they are better prepared to take that next step forward. So routines give our students something to grasp onto that is predictable. This eliminates the guesswork. They know exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it. It builds confidence. It keeps kids' anxiety very low because they know what to expect. So this is what's really important. But we also have to have expectations on our half for our students. Typically in reading intervention, we get students that have challenging behaviors. And I want to break this down for you and unpack it a little bit. Think about this. You are required to do something that is so difficult to do, okay? A student who is learning to read and having difficulty reading is going to, first of all, feel dumb, right? That's what they're going to feel like. They might be embarrassed, there might be shame. And let me tell you something. Kids would rather be seen as bad than seen as dumb. And I've seen this in every single grade level I've ever worked with. And so when we have kids come in that have challenging behaviors, the first thing we want to make sure that we're doing is instruction is at their level. Why? Because we need to build confidence. When you build confidence in your students, you are going to see your behavior issues fall dramatically. Sometimes I'll talk to a classroom teacher and they'll be like, oh, Billy, oh my gosh, he's so terrible in class, or he's so misbehaved, or he's always acting out. And I'm thinking, not here. And that I have to explain to the teacher, when kids are able to feel successful, when they see that success themselves, their confidence goes up, they feel good, and they want to do more of that. It's a human just a human trait we have. We want more of that feeling. And so that's the first thing. We want to make sure that we are giving our students opportunities to be successful, to build that confidence. Now, as far as some routines, how can we do this? We need to look at what do we do when students enter and exit. It should never be a free-for-all. Okay, so let me give you some tips with what I did in every single lab I've ever run. And that is my students that are coming to the reading lab. Now let me back up a little bit. We do a walk to reading lab model. So the teachers have a schedule And that schedule is for that grade level to come in. So they're every 30 minutes, about 35 minutes, because we give a 5-minute passing. When the grade level comes to the reading lab, they stand at the door. Okay? They stand outside at the door and wait to be invited in. And so we practice this, and I go over, how do you stand? Where are your hands? Where's your mouth? And we practice so that kids come up, they know what to do, they wait to come in. Now, this is important for a couple of reasons. Sometimes you might be having a conversation with a colleague, a para, you might be finishing up something with a group, and you need a couple of minutes. And your students, if they come barging in, are going to disrupt all of that, okay? So have a way for them to enter. The first thing I say is they stand there, and I do the same thing for exiting. So when my students are ready to exit, first of all, the clock does not dismiss them, the bell does not dismiss them. Either myself or their para that they are working with dismisses them. And it, depending on the grade level, usually the older ones we dismiss and let them walk straight out. Some of our younger ones, we have them line up, and then we watch them dismiss to their classroom. So that is another thing. Okay, so entering and exiting. Another thing, what do you do when your students are then invited in? So here's what I do. I walk outside, and in order to get my students' attention, I teach every grade level the same thing, super simple. I walk in and I say, high five, please. And everybody raises their hand and closes their mouth. And that's what I teach them. When my hand is up, your mouth is closed. Everybody's hand goes up. Super simple, every single grade level. And trust me, I've tried all the claps. I've tried the clap once, clap twice. I've tried all of that. And for certain grade levels, they worked. This one was universal. My kindergartners can do it. My 6th graders can do it. And so that's why I chose one callback sign, so to speak, for attention. And I use it all the time. Okay. So when I walk out, I ask the kids, high five, please. Wait for them. And I explain to them where they're going. I want you to go straight to your group. Or sometimes I have announcements or things that I need to talk to them about, and I ask them to come to the carpet. Okay. So this leads me to, what do we do with whole group? My kindergartners and 1st graders always start at the carpet. I always took them to the carpet. And let's say I had about 20 kids. It depends on the size of my lab. They would come and sit down, high five, please, get everybody's attention. With my younger ones, I was delivering the Hegarty Phonological Awareness curriculum, whole group, okay, for my 1st and kindergartners. And so that's how I did it. We did it all as one, so that it was something that I could keep an eye on in every single group. That's very important. I'm the leader of the lab. I am the manager of the lab. The responsibility falls on me. Even if the students are receiving instruction with a para, I still need to know what is happening with every single student. So that's how I did that. So they would come to the carpet, and when it's time to dismiss again, I would say, high five, please. And I would explain to them, okay, now it is time to go to your group. And I might say, Mrs. Watts group, please dismiss. Or Mrs. Hernandez group, please go to your group. Sometimes with my little ones, if you're wearing red shoes, go to your group. If your name starts with a S, go to your group. If your name ends in a T, go to a group, something like that. But I always have a way so that it is not a mad dash back to the group. And here's the thing about routines. They have to be practiced. And so when I see students not following my routine, I go, stop, high five, please, come back. And I explain to them, what do we have to do better this time? And then we would try it again. And then they get lots of praise. And it was a wonderful situation. Same thing works for my 6th graders. I just approach them a little bit differently, in a little more mature fashion, but it's still the same routines. Okay, so we've got a routine for entering and exiting. We've got a routine for whole group and announcements. So let me go back. Sometimes you'll be in your lab and you'll get a phone call, and it's something, maybe it's picture day, right? Because we know it's picture day and the kids will have to leave the lab to go take their pictures. So the first thing I do is high five, please. If you are in Miss Smith's class, you need to go to the cafeteria for pictures and then return, or whatever the thing may be. But this high five, please, I swear it's magic. Like, they know what to do. They know what to expect. It's simple, and you practice it. Don't give up on your routines. You put the time in early to develop your expectations and your routines, and you practice them. And when they start to slide, you go, oh, guys, we have to have a chat. What does this mean? And we review. It's just how we do it. And so it works really, really well. Now, we also need some routines for within our groups. So those are kind of entering and exiting and whole groups. So if I'm working with students in the whole lab, that's how I would approach it. Within the groups, now this is where we have small groups. So we might have anywhere, depending on the grade level and the need, we may have 3 to 5 students in a group run by a different adult, myself, my paras, or whoever is being used as the instructor. And you still need to have routines there. So one thing, and this is about 2nd to 6th. I dropped 6th later to go to kinder to 5th. So that's a whole other video. But what I did is the vast majority of my 3rd through 5th grade groups needed to participate in repeated reading. I love 6-minute solution. Okay, I'll put the link down below. If you are looking for a really great fluency building curriculum, 6-minute solution is fantastic. And drop a comment if you want to hear more. I can do some additional information about that. But this was one of my routines with my older students. And so they were at the door. I would I would invite them in, and they would go straight to their groups. Once they're in the group, all of our materials are in folders. Okay, I have those 6 drawer wheelie carts that I kept. Each group had their stack of folders. And this is true for all the paras, every single group. Let's say 4th grade walked in, okay? And I think all of my groups were doing 6-minute solution at this point. Maybe one group wasn't because they were still working on some decoding things and they just weren't ready for it. But I would take the folders out. This is the same for all the paras. Every student gets their folder. They take out their passage that they're reading, unless it's a Monday, which is a cold read, then they don't practice, and they practice. So I'm walking around the room going, okay, everybody has practice time. And sometimes I start a stopwatch. Okay, I'm going to give you 1 minute to practice. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to practice. But they come in, they get right to work. There is no loss of time. Okay, very important. So then, depending on the group, depending on my paras, sometimes I would lead 6-minute solution as a whole group, and I would time everybody together. We would do partner A, partner B would time, record, and then we put it away. And usually it's called 6-minute solution because you're supposed to be able to get through the process in 6 minutes, and I have, but usually it's about 8 minutes. That is a routine that I have. But sometimes it's my paras that are doing it individually, and then the routine becomes theirs in their group, okay? Typically speaking, for my young students, the lesson was broken up into like 3 focuses for the day. Let's say kinder first, sometimes second, depends on the group. So there might be some phonological awareness, then there would be some phonics and decoding practice, and then there would be some reading of connected text through decodables. So we break it into these 3 levels. Why? Because it is short amounts of time that still build on each other, and I want those kids to read connected text. Okay. And so I'm working on all of those skills and then applying them back inside of the text. That's one routine that I had. My older students typically had their lessons were broken into 2 sub lesson structures, and it was usually fluency not always, unless I've got a group that's just there for comprehension. Fluency, and then either decoding or phonics work or comprehension work, depending on the need. Remember, we base everything on data. So that is how I did. But the important thing is those routines are established in the groups. So when I have a new para come in, I explain the structure of these routines, and then my other paras start sharing with each other what works with them, because I want them to have some ownership. And that is how we work it. Okay, so one last routine that we have. Fridays, if you've seen my games, my Brain Game Friday video about games and having fun, go back and watch it. Fridays, we have a little bit of a different routine. Our students come in, and same way, all invited, they come in. We have a short, probably 10-minute lesson. Usually it's either fluency, it might be some sort of a vocabulary check, something that the group is working on. Depends on the group, depends on the grade level, because remember, you've got almost 100 kids in there. And then we dismiss to Brain Game Friday. And let me tell you, it's on like Donkey Kong. It gets a little wild, gets a little loud, but I hold those kids really tightly accountable throughout the week. And if they have done what they need to do and they've been really, working hard, they get that game. Brain games are exactly that. They are still building the content. They are still building the focus, but it's a game, and there's a ton of them. So if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it. I've got some good ideas in there. So there you go. That's it. Routines and expectations. Hold your kids accountable. Build their success. Help them to know what the routines are, train them in the routines so that they know exactly what to expect, and you don't lose valuable time in teaching, which we know our time is critical. So routines help us to speed all of these things up. I would love it if you, in the comment, please drop down, what are some of your favorite routines? What works for you? Let's share it with each other. Again, I want to invite you to readinglabsos.com. We have a Facebook group of the same name. I would love it if you're interested in joining our spring book club or any other book club. And we want to be a part of this conversation. So new intervention teachers that feel like you are just drowning, this is the place for you, okay? Come in, let's have those conversations. If you are a more seasoned intervention teacher, we need you too, because our new ones need our help so badly. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful day. As always, thank you for what you do. It is not easy. You have a challenge, and our kids need us more than ever because of this pandemic. So let's make sure we do the best for them. Thank you. Bye for now. Mwah.